All right, so right now we're going to be talking about the appraisal period in regards to your home, and this is for sellers. So when it comes to sellers, there's a period of the home actually being appraised. What the heck is an appraisal? An appraisal where the bank goes out, not the buyer. This is where the bank goes out and says, hey, if John Doe doesn't pay my bill on this mortgage that we're giving them, can I make my money back if I have to inherit and repossess this house and sell it on the open market? That's what an appraisal is. Now, they don't like me saying that. They do some safety checks depending on the loan type so they don't get sued also, like chipping, peeling, paint, exposed wiring. There has to be a termite inspection and actually be cleared with Arizona if it's a VA loan, all these little nuances. But the main thing is that they want to make sure that the value of the house, the value that the buyer said that they would pay, is what they can get if the buyer doesn't pay their bill to them. They don't pay the loan, if that makes sense. So the way they do it, typically they'll go back 3 to 6 months, find similar homes that have sold in the area, all that stuff. We probably did all this already. Ultimately, when they go out, they're measuring, making sure the house is about the square footage that it shows on the tax records, making sure that there aren't any additional modifications, things like that, weird stuff. Ultimately, what the appraisal will say, hey, your house is good to go, it's at the same price or above, and then they'll kick it over to us and we'll get that email as the listing agent from the lender saying, hey, appraisal condition met, we're all good to go to move forward with purchasing the home. If that's the best case scenario, you're solid, good to go. Now, if the appraisal comes in low, well, then we have some other things to look at. So if it comes in $5,000, $10,000 low, we're gonna ask the buyers, hey, we need you to come up with this money. Buyers might not have it, but we're still gonna ask them for that. So that's where you're gonna decide what you wanna do if it comes to that. You could say, hey, we're not selling it for this price because we have 5, 6, 7 other offers. If we didn't have other offers, maybe we can negotiate, we'll see. If the appraisal comes in low, then what we're gonna do is ask the buyers to come up with some more cash so they can purchase this home. They may not have it, but we're still gonna ask them for it. Now, the buyers are gonna ask you to come down. They may want you to drop the price. Sometimes it's cheaper to keep her, but at the same time, you're not obligated to drop your price to that appraisal price. You can say, go take a hike. If you can't come up with the money, then we're gonna find another buyer. You'll be surprised how often buyers come up with the money, but sometimes they don't. I see about a 50-50. Sometimes it's a bluff. Sometimes in this market, a lot of people don't have it. But ultimately, this is your choice because you said you wanted a certain number. They said they would pay it. And then we have this appraisal contingencies that just threw a wrench in everybody's plans. So it's not their fault. It is what it is. Usually the appraiser's fault. But anyway, ultimately, that's a joke. But ultimately what it comes down to is that we're renegotiating at that point in time, and that's what the appraisal is. Now for your specific situation, we can cross that bridge once we get to it. Definitely give me a call. I'd be more than happy to talk about it specifically with you. But ultimately there's a third thing that can happen on the appraisal. It's very rare, but there can be something called out on your home. So typically things that are called out is if there's additional square footage in addition that was not permitted with the state. They cannot take the value of that for your square footage. They'll usually drop your price or your price per square foot because of that. The other thing is that may come up is that it may not be lendable if there are those additional items like chipping, peeling, paint, exposed wiring, something that is not safe. If it doesn't have a stove, actually, it's considered inhabitable. I don't know who makes the rules, but if it doesn't have a stove, you can't live there. On paper. But ultimately what happens is you would just put in the stove at that point or have the that's an easy fix. But there may be these additional things that an underwriter may call out from the appraisal that you may have to change the property, fix the exposed wiring, chipping, peeling, paint. And then usually those are the cheapest, easiest fixes, to be quite honest with you. But ultimately that's the appraisal process. I hope it wasn't too long-winded. If you have questions, of course, let me know. Be more than happy to talk to you about it. Peace.